This was the most difficult interview in the world. The 8 candidates were stunned when they received their exam papers, because the examiners had given them blank sheets of paper. Although the candidates were very confused, none dared to speak. Before the exam, the examiners had announced 3 rules prohibiting speech. First, they could not talk to the examiners or security guards. Second, they could not leave the room without permission. And third, they could not soil or damage the exam paper. Violating even one rule would result in elimination and a year. A job with a salary of $5 million was practically within reach, and the only answer was, "You will be qualified." Seeing that everyone remained silent, the examiner immediately started an 80-minute countdown and then left without looking back. Everyone stared blankly at the exam paper, utterly bewildered, having no idea what the questions were. Winning this $5 million annual salary job wouldn't be easy. However, as time, second by second passed, and suddenly a woman couldn't take it anymore. She thought the boss had given them blank paper so they could write a job report. So she picked up a pen and started writing without a word. But as soon as she wrote her name, the security guard stopped abruptly, walked over to her, and pushed her out of the exam room without a word. It turned out she had violated the rule of soiling the exam paper. Seeing the woman eliminated for writing her name on the exam paper, everyone had no choice but to stop. He dared not write anything on the exam paper again. While everyone was crying and fussing over the questions, a man suddenly realized something. He remembered that the examiner had only mentioned 3 rules, which meant that as long as he didn't break those 3 rules, he would be fine. So he immediately stood up from his seat, then casually started punching the air. Seeing that the security guard next to him didn't react at all, he brazenly started greeting the others. Apparently, the rules only said not to talk to the examiners or the security guards. They hadn't said they couldn't talk to the examinees. Seeing that the man's actions were permitted, the others finally dared to speak. They then began discussing why the exam paper was blank. Suddenly, the long-haired girl stood up. She guessed that the exam paper might be made of some kind of chemical substance, and perhaps the questions would appear when illuminated by light. Everyone agreed that this made sense, so they moved the exam paper closer to the room. After testing, the lights didn't change on the test paper at all. Suddenly, Xiaohei realized that perhaps only special lighting, like ultraviolet or infrared, could make the test paper appear, but there wasn't such lighting in this room. Just then, Jin Fei-mei discovered some emergency lights on the wall. To verify their hypothesis, they immediately smashed the lights on the wall. Sure enough, the next second, an emergency blue light instantly illuminated. They initially thought they could finally see the question clearly, but after testing, they found that the situation remained unchanged. The bearded man thought they might not have found the right color, or perhaps there were other lights in the room. At that moment, the sharp-eyed girl with glasses suddenly noticed that there really was a light on the wall that wasn't lit. This instantly made them realize that this was the light they were looking for. So they directly smashed the emergency light on the wall. The next second, a red light suddenly illuminated the room. But unfortunately, after their test, the blank test paper remained empty. They could see that only 60 minutes remained of the exam time. And everyone became anxious and restless. At this moment, Xiao Bai suggested that the test paper might be made of special material. So he picked up the woman's test paper that had just been eliminated and randomly started drawing on it. But even so, the test paper remained unchanged. There was nothing Xiaobai could do. They had no choice but to divide the exam paper in two. One copy was given to Xiaohei to test with his saliva, and the other was tested with his own urine. Unexpectedly, the entire exam paper was destroyed, and the questions they were looking for never appeared. Just then, they noticed a bespectacled man next to them who hadn't stood up since entering the exam room. So they slowly walked towards him. But unexpectedly, the bespectacled man said something strange. At this moment, everyone was still unaware that the bespectacled man had already. He revealed the secret of the exam paper, but no one understood his meaning. As time ticked by, Xiaobai couldn't take it anymore. He believed the company was definitely playing them, they'd lured them here, just to watch them make a fool of themselves on surveillance. But Glasses, after not hearing this, immediately retorted. He had thoroughly researched this listed company before the interview. They would never do something so pointless. Hearing this, everyone had to pull themselves together. Since all their methods failed to make the exam paper appear, they guessed that the secret on the blank exam paper must be hidden on the security guard by the door. Unexpectedly, upon hearing this, Fa Mei immediately reached for the security guard. Sure enough, they found a lighter in his pocket. Seeing that there was indeed a smoke alarm in the room, they immediately moved a table over and aimed the flame at the sensor. This little bit of smoke couldn't trigger an alarm at all. Seeing this, Xiaobai quickly grabbed an exam paper and had the long-haired girl light it. Sure enough, this trick worked. However, what they never expected was that what sprayed down wasn't the exam paper, but ordinary tap water. Just as everyone was in despair, the security guard at the door suddenly walked over and, without saying a word, dragged the long-haired girl out of the exam room. It turned out that the smoke Xiaobai had just gotten. The exam paper belonged to the long-haired girl, and this revealed the ugly side of human nature, eliminating her from the exam. However, Xiaobai's actions also drew criticism. They considered him selfish. Xiaohei, seeing this, immediately wanted to beat him up, but unintentionally triggered the room's voice control system. The next second, the room's lights suddenly turned on, seemingly to allow more people to leave the exam room. On the spot, the teacher's glasses were put on, and the male student destroyed the exam paper. This led to the bespectacled man being dragged away by the security guard. Upon seeing this, Xiaobai grinned from ear to ear, believing that reducing the number of people would increase the remaining person's chances of winning. At this point, Xiaohei couldn't take it anymore and rushed over, beating him severely. He then tied him tightly to a chair. Despite this, Xiaohei was still not satisfied. He prepared to push Xiaobai to the door to eliminate him, but the blonde woman stopped him, because the examiner had said before the test that only those who voluntarily give up the exam can leave. Hearing this, Xiaohei had no choice but to take out a pencil, intending for Xiaobai to smudge the exam paper himself. Unexpectedly, Xiaobai suddenly woke up, and without saying a word, insisted on taking his medicine. It turned out that Xiaobai suffered from a strange disease. He had to take a certain medicine every hour, otherwise he would painfully lose his life. But at this moment, Xiaohei thought Xiaobai was lying. Unexpectedly, the next second, Xiaobai completely fell into a coma. Then, the bearded man took the glasses girl as he must have become a spy. Otherwise, how would he know so much? So, to verify his suspicions, he tied the girl with glasses to a stool and threatened her to tell the truth. But the girl with glasses claimed she was innocent and didn't know how to make the exam questions lined up. Seeing that the girl with glasses wouldn't tell the truth, the bearded man simply grabbed her exam paper and slashed her thigh. With only a few minutes left before the exam ended, after about 10 minutes, the bearded man had no choice but to remove the glasses-wearing girl's glasses and then hold the exam paper to her eyes. However, he didn't do this to harm her. Rather, he wanted to test whether she was lying. Only then did the bearded man put down the exam paper, because he believed that a person's eyes wouldn't lie. The glasses-wearing girl thus escaped a dangerous situation, with only a dozen minutes left in the exam, and the questions from the blank world game not yet appearing. Everyone had no choice but to quickly search. They were searching for a way to make the world visible, but then Xiaobai suddenly started convulsing. It turned out Xiaobai had a special illness. She would die immediately if she didn't take her medicine within an hour. But now, her medicine was mysteriously nowhere to be found. The media then issued a call for everyone to search each other, to see if any selfish person had hidden it. But after searching for a long time, they found nothing. Just then, the girl with glasses suddenly noticed the bearded man walking into the exam room, constantly chewing gum. Perhaps he had wrapped it in chewing gum. To verify his suspicions, he went to the bearded man's table and searched it. Sure enough, he found that Xiaobai's medicine had been hidden by the bearded man. It turned out that if the bearded man killed Xiaobai, he would have one less competitor. Seeing this, the bespectacled girl quickly fed Xiaobai. But this...